What you can see here is 6 tons of steel being crushed. All that's left of it is aluminum, copper, plastic and electrical waste, neatly separated from each other. Japan's capital, Tokyo. With 30 million inhabitants, the largest metropolitan area in the world, and recycling world champion. Tokyo's subway network is the largest and most modern in the world. 8 million commuters use more than 1,000 crowded trains every day. But the demands are increasing. That's why Japan is investing in more modern and faster trains. The old ones end up at this special recycling plant. No matter whether underground, railroad, express or monorail, today 8 carriages have to be scrapped. Factory manager Roshi Zhu has been working here for 2 years and makes sure that a pile of powder is all that remains.
This is the only train scrapping factory in Japan. We're very busy and always under stress.
But first of all, everyone needs to stretch. Every morning for 15 minutes. This is the company's philosophy, and it's supposed to motivate all employees to do their best. For Japanese people, this is quite normal. Even the senior boss takes part.
There's a lot to do today. I want to see everyone giving their all. Thank you. Let's go.
First part of train recycling, dismantling. Tokyo's Line 5 is up first. But before the 8-ton wagon can enter the press, Mukana Chu has to drive it into the hall. Precision work.
I've got to be very careful. The forklift is already at its limit at this weight. If the train slips off the fork, that wouldn't be a happy end.
Chu carries a lot of responsibility. The wagon is only temporarily stored in the front hall. This is important to guarantee the next wagon is always ready waiting. Wooden planks ensure the right ground clearance.
That's so we can move it faster with the forklift.
Mukana Chu is on his way back out with his forklift truck to get the next carriage. From the front hall, all the wagons enter the gigantic main hall. Anything that might get stuck in the scrap press later has to go. This includes the wheel units. For the past 15 minutes, the team has been trying to tear off the axle, which weighs several tons, but it's not moving an inch.
The tractive force of the crane tongs isn't enough.
The workers are at a loss, but Rochizu has an idea.
I'll try the welding torch.
Do you think it'll work?
We'll see.
Does this happen often?
No, but you just have to think of something.
A welding torch develops 1,600 degrees heat. Roshizu has to hurry. This wheel unit is currently holding up the whole operation.
Now it should work. Try using the digger.
The trains are built for eternity. This is due to the enormous strain it takes to be Japan's #1 means of transport.
You see?
The job is dangerous. The wheel unit weighs 2 tons. If it hits anyone, it can be fatal.
I have to be very careful because the wheel unit is so heavy. One time, someone ended up in hospital because of me. But luckily, it wasn't so bad.
The wheel unit has cost the team a good 30 minutes.
We're behind schedule now. Get the train in the tent, but quick.
One last scrutinizing look from the boss, and then it's off to the gigantic tent in the middle of the factory building. Here the pollutants are taken out of the train. More precisely, asbestos. The highly toxic fibre was used as a thermal insulation in older train cars. The train is placed in a specially sealed tent because asbestos is extremely toxic.
The dust is dangerous. That's why we use the tent, so it can't spread.
You're only allowed into the tent with protective clothing and a breathing mask. This also applies to our camera team, who are only allowed in once they've complied with these safety measures. In the 90s, Japan used asbestos as an insulation material. It is highly carcinogenic and has been banned in Europe since 1990. Asbestos is hazardous waste and must be disposed of separately. Here, you work strictly according to regulations. The potential danger is simply too great. After a maximum of 20 minutes, the workers have to get out of the toxic dust and take a break of 2 hours.
When you're under time pressure, this is a real problem. But safety comes first. It's unbearably warm in the tent, about 50 degrees.
The discarded train now moves to its final stop, the scrap press. It is the heart of the plant. This scrap press is one of the largest in the world and the only one that can swallow an entire train in one go. Before we can start, Roshi has to check the hydraulic bolts, the squeezing muscles of the mega machine.
Here are the hydraulic cylinders that control the pressure from the right and the left. They have real power.
More precisely, 2,000 tons of pressure. That's the same weight as 28 tanks. That's why it's important to check the cylinders. But the train wagons are stuck in a traffic jam.
What's going on here? What's happened? A colleague forgot to write down the serial number. I'll have a look if I can see it.
This is exactly what isn't supposed to happen, especially when 8 cars have to be scrapped. Factory manager Roshi Zu is getting more and more annoyed. It just seems to be one of those days. He has to do it himself and get the wagon out again. No number, no scrapping. This is a worst-case scenario. Time is running out for Roshi Zu. Where is the number? Here, every second the monster press isn't running costs money.
We're ready. Let's go.
The 20-meter-long wagons are driven into the press. We installed a camera to see exactly what happens inside the disused wagon. And this is how the high-tech press works. The wagon is pushed from behind until it is just below the press stud. From above and from the side, the hydraulic bolts press the wagon together. In the end, a gigantic blade cuts the scrap into small sections. Wagon after wagon is waiting to be scrapped. All that remains of the 20-meter wagon afterwards is a large pile of valuable scrap metal.
I'm always amazed myself how the big wagon turns into a pile of small scrap metal so quickly. We're the only ones with this technology. We're especially proud of the sliding press.
Step 3 of train recycling: separation of raw materials. The crushed scrap from the mega press is not yet at the end of its travels. This huge conveyor belt belongs to one of the world's largest scrap mills ever. Rod Chi-Zhu's team collects the scrap from the press with the help of the excavators. Everything is shredded in the mill. Nothing stays whole.
We're still behind. I know, we're hurrying up. Is the mill the final step? No, there's more. After the mill, the separation of raw materials begins.
And this is all that remains of the train. The mill did a good job and crushed everything completely. Here, the raw materials are separated precisely, piece by piece, centrifuging, sieving, filtering. A total of 8 machines extract the individual precious materials from the scrap metal in a complex sorting process. This technology is unique in the world.
It's something my company's very proud of.
The technique is based on magnets and is under patent protection. There's a reason for this. The filtered raw materials from only one wagon have a value of 16,000 euros. It's definitely worth it.